Hey guys, we're having a whole lot of fun here on Radio Row, and no one knows that better than my next guest. You know him so well, former wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, Super Bowl champion Jordy Nelson. You said right now this is your first time doing Radio Row, like on this side of things.
Yes, I always said no to it just because I didn't want to talk about how we probably lost in the playoffs because if you didn't lose, you were playing in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But so now, yeah, it's fun to be back down here to see it all, see the insides of it, and enjoying it.
So yeah, what was it like losing in the playoffs? Joking,
Not fun.
haha,
Yeah,
that was the
exactly.
question. Yeah, but you're retired now, and you are now doing some farming. I was reading, right?
Yeah,
Like
so
you're
I
back
grew
on
up.
the farm.
I grew up on a family farm in Kansas, and I've said before I relate more to being a farmer than an NFL player. And then so once I retired, my wife and I grew up together. So we've moved back home. I own over about 2,000 acres, and I help my brother farm probably 3 to 4 or 5 days a week.
Wow.
For the most part, obviously, there's times I can get away to do things like this, but if I'm at home, I'm usually out on the farm helping him do different things.
So how come farming over football?
Because I've done farming a lot longer, and I think it's the foundation of who I was as an athlete and as a person. Farming taught me a lot of responsibility, discipline, just people relying on you and making sure you're doing what you're supposed to do, because that's how our family made a living when I was a kid, was farming. So we'd all be given a task, and it was your job to go do that task and do it correctly and do it well, because if not, we all were going to suffer from it. So I think it just set a good foundation for who I am and how I went towards even playing sports, understanding the work that went into it, the discipline that went into it. And obviously when you're playing sports, especially a team game like football, there's other people relying on you to be prepared and go out and execute.
Amazing analogy between farming and football. That's incredible. And I got to ask, you played with a ton of guys. Who would be a good farmhand?
Oh, man, a good
Like
farmhand.
who's really good at milking cows and taking care of.
Yeah, we didn't milk cows growing up, so
That's probably the biggest stereotype,
it
right?
is.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you play in Green Bay,
Yeah.
in Wisconsin, because there's a lot of milking cows there. I will say I brought back James Jones, Greg Jennings, and a guy who was in my draft class, Brett Swain, and we did a little work. They were all for everything. They stuck their hand up a cow's rear end all the way up to their elbow, which seems a
Whoa.
little unnecessary, but we do our
Like,
own
how is that
breeding.
even possible?
It's possible. There's a long story to it, and it would be for a different
Okay,
show
yeah,
probably.
yeah.
But so I think the first step is they're willing to do whatever. They were willing to get muddy. AJ Hawk was another one that came back and
yeah.
helped sort cattle, and so he was out in the middle of the pen helping us out. So the thing is, if you don't grow up with it, there's a lot of learning that you have to do, and it takes some time. But I think those guys did a great job of just stepping in and honestly just being willing to do it.
Yeah, what they did on the football field too, right?
Right.
Another analogy there. Kansas City has a ton of celebrities heading into this game, and best sports celebrity repping Kansas City that you would want on the field with you between Paul Rudd, Jason Sudeikis, Eric Stonestreet, or Rob Riggle.
Eric Stone Street.
Okay, yeah, he'd be
Yes.
He'd be a good offensive lineman,
And
probably.
he keeps everything light. You know, you can't
Yeah.
have guys too intense all the time. You got to be able to relax. He's also a K-Stater.
Yeah,
So
the little apple.
Yes. So got to know him a little. I've gotten to know him a little bit. So yeah, I think his personality would fit great on a team.
Aaron Rodgers is most likely to listen to this band or artist for
jeez.
the rest of his life.
I gotta pick him.
Yeah, like you know him.
Oh my goodness. Dang it, I have one and I need to think of it. Oh, we'll say Nickelback.
Oh, he's a big Nickelback guy.
I don't think so, but I think it's an inside joke, so we'll go with it.
All right, yeah. They're Canadian,
Hopefully he does
so
hear that.
that's fine, yeah. And there's one more. If I was on a life raft with Aaron Rodgers, the first thing he would do is...
Man, probably give you a game plan on how you're going to succeed and survive.
That's great. Sounds
Yeah, I
like a
would take it,
guy
yes.
you'd want on a life raft with you. Okay, and for the future Green Bay, it was so close this year, getting to the big dance. But what's like one or two things that you see from the outside that maybe they need to do to step it up?
I think offensively, a couple more playmakers on the outside at receiver to help Devontae out. I know they had some guys, a couple guys got banged up. They had some young guys that are still learning the game and learning to play with Aaron. But to get another explosive, because when we were very successful in Green Bay, we had 3 or 4 or 5 guys. Like there was times when I played that we would have 5 receivers on the field at one time, and all 5 of us could go play. So that's when we felt we were very good at what we were doing when we could, because then that forces the defense to get third, fourth, or fifth DB on the field, and I think that's when we had the advantage. So I think a couple more playmakers for him, and I think the defense just continued to grow, especially for the steps that they took this last year.
Awesome. Okay, well, onwards and upwards for Green Bay, and that means what we're going to do now is check out what you're plugging.
Yes.
A little booze.
Yes. So I'm here on behalf of Michelob Ultra, Pure Gold. So it's an organic beer. And so what they're doing, their promotion is 6 for 6-pack. So for every 6-pack of Pure Gold beer that they sell, they're going to turn 6 square feet of farmland into organic farming.
Oh,
so there's less than 1% of farmland in America is organically farmed, and it's a long process to become organic, to become an organic farm. So it takes like 3 years of a process to get out of what would be normal farming into organic farming. So there's a lot of overhead, there's a lot of costs, a lot of expenses for it. So what Michelob Ultra is doing is the proceeds from this campaign is going to help those farmers in the transition to become organic farming. And the reason why they chose 6 square feet of farmland is because it takes 6 square feet of farmland to produce a 6-pack of Pure Gold beer.
It's just science on science right
Absolutely.
there. You are the perfect person to represent this
and
right
that's
now.
why we're here.
And,
I'm here to promote any agriculture possible.
Agriculture.
And drinking.
And drinking.
Responsibly.
Responsibly. I'm going to crack. Finally.
That's
we were trying to get... I know, we were trying
to
to
get that sound.
get
That's a good
some.
sound.
We're trying to get some booze here on Radio Row, which could be just like a whole investigation in itself. Great piece, I think. I'm just going to take a little dive in. I mean, it's 11:30 in the morning. Drinks with Binks. Why not? A++. A little warm right now.
Yeah, they've been carried around Radio Row
but
for a
still
while.
good. They've been at literally every different media network.
But we do leave them.
This
so
one's
you
do
can then
leave
do
them?
it before and
Wow.
after. So this was the before. Put it on ice, and then you can maybe do another show.
Yeah,
with
it's already
it after.
A++, so it's pretty good. Speaking of beer, we got the Super Bowl coming up. Got to ask you, just on Sundays in general now, are you watching football or are you not watching football?
I'm watching football. I'm a sports fan. I watch it all weekend long. There's still, especially after being in Oakland for a year, and now some of the older guys that I played with in Green Bay are on different teams. I have so many teams to try to keep an eye on from Green Bay to Oakland, like Randall Cobb down in Dallas, different guys playing in different, Clay Matthews with the Rams. So it seems like if there's a game on, I know someone or have a relationship with someone playing there. Micah Hyde in Buffalo. So the list goes on and on how they've all moved around. So I'm always looking at something to see who's out there playing.
Awesome. Okay, and our final last thing is that we work out of the Big Apple in Manhattan, New York, and we share a studio with a place called Cheesehead TV.
Oh, nice.
And so that's obviously up your background. If you're ever in New York, would you want to talk to our Cheesehead TV guys?
Yeah, I could do that. Now the chances of me being in New York,
very
slim.
Yes, but if you're ever out in Times Square,
ever in rural Kansas,
okay, yeah. If you guys go to little Kansas, make your way. Thank you so much, Jordy. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Michelob Ultra, smooth. It's tasty. I just got a sponsorship with them as well, so I'm really excited about that. And we got to go on Call It a Night, but thank you guys so much for watching.